Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew, this side of a handy-dandy soap flute. Yeah, you know you want to play.
That's going to fall apart quickly.
It's going to fall apart way too quickly. Sub Commander Giraffe is here, ready to channel her inner big mare energy and hang with her prison fam. That's right. I don't know if you have a prison fam. I'm assuming you don't, but...
Yeah,
I don't know.
That is a question.
I know. I don't know what you've done in France and Greece. Like, you know.
Oh, okay. So maybe
you're a woman of mystery. You're Tal Shiar, you know. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only Klingon prison, and they stole my shoes.
Oh, those damn Klingon! But they didn't even have the spike on them.
Well, no, Yeti. The Yeti in the Klingon prison stole my shoes.
That's very disappointing. It's very disappointing. And Captain MC is here wondering, after all these years of dyeing her hair purple, if she too, in fact, belongs on the Purple Enterprise.
I've actually I'm not actually in Canada. I am in the purple dimension right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I always have been.
0.3% more purple.
Yeah. Yep. Nice.
You guys should have known.
I feel like I should have. There's something about like the hue of the room, and yeah. Yep. Welcome back, guys. How we doing? Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the YouTube chat and the collective who celebrates. MC, you did do Thanksgiving, right?
I did.
You did. And Giraffe, you were invited somewhere, so I think we all did Thanksgiving. No.
I ended up doing no Thanksgiving. I ended up making cosplay and playing PlayStation, which, I'm very thankful for.
That's a good day.
I mean, yeah.
That's a really good day. Nice. I love it. I hope everybody in the chat had a great Thanksgiving. We just went down to family, or up to family in New York, and came back. And now we're here. So if you're wondering where Vice Admiral Eric is, he ate way too many of Talin's mutant grapes, so he's on the mend.
One grape.
One. It just took one. And Captain Hawk.
We know he loved these big melons.
Yeah, he does like big melons. And Captain Hawk, he's got the Andorian flu or something. He couldn't get the hollow emitters running. Who really knows these days what happened to him? So they will hopefully be back with us next week. This week, though, we're here. We're finally here. We had to cancel Thursday, but we're here. We fit it in at the end of the month. We still made it a November show, which I appreciate. So what happens when the undercover girls trip? I have to say, this now is the girls trip plus me, Snell. Yeah. Get a 1-year extension thanks to Boimler and Rutherford. How does Commander Data... That's right. He keeps coming. Play into the events in this episode. How much bounce do I fucked up the joke. I botched that so bad. I knew I was gonna botch one of them.
I was waiting. I was like, how much bounce what?
Apparently a lot, because I bounced too far to complete the sentence. How much bounce do those curls does Talin's elixir add? And is Snell a better lurker than the Romulans? Giraffe would have the answer to that one, not me.
No, he sucks.
No, he sucks. He's pretty bad
sucks,
at the job.
Yeah.
We're gonna break it all down, but first, Giraffe, since you did spill your michelada on your console before the show, You have the honor of reading our amazing Patreon Collective members.
Wait. Sing. Do something. Play the flute. I got it. Hey. No warning. You could tell me pre-show I needed to open the outline.
Wait, hold on. Time out. I thought you were a changed woman. I thought you read the outline now.
I read it once. It's not like I changed a woman.
Your words, not mine.
Thank you, our dear patrons. Thank you, Simon Stagger, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett. Happy birthday, Mariah. It's her birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Mariah.
Happy birthday, Mariah.
Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joseph Perito, Noe Santos, Kang Hui, Takako Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shutterhand 2049, breathing, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Gildara, Mikey Light, Wayne Ritz, Konavark, Sean, Jay Howard, Heleni Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Davey Willett, Tara Pollen, Slope 74, Woodper Keith, Joshua Miller, Aaron W, Carl Angoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano 317, Puka Hair, Free Fry Short, Cat TP, Tripping the Read Alert of her Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher CBF, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buchwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Cherin J. Robinson, Rob Greiner, Eric the Red Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honey Berry, Paul Taylor Pitt, and Brad Jones, and our newest collective member, Michelle Marie.
Michelle Marie. You could tell Michelle I did Marie, not update the names this week because I have those ands still in there. Tisk, shame on me. Yeah.
And thanks to the Bad Murals, our EPs, Simon Steger, Chris Waterman, Tara Pollen, and Brett Jones.
You know what we could count on for our EPs, our Badmirals to do? Get us back in less than a year from the planet. I think they'd have their hand on the button better than Boymes and Rutherford.
Listen, they wouldn't be eating in the transporter room.
I know. I would be like, that might actually be good just to get away from it all for a year, like go into the Nexus for a year and be like,
but you come back like in a second, so you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're rested.
Yeah, it sounds kind of nice. I don't know. I like it. We're gonna talk about that. I have nothing on the news. Does anybody have anything on the news front?
No, I don't think so.
No, we're good.
No,
I kind of like that. It's the holidays. People aren't doing shit.
No more LA Comic Con in December, so I don't know. The next one is Star Trek San Francisco. No conventions.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Convention season is kind of over at the moment. All right. Well, I mean,
like it.
Yeah, we're moving right along then. Yeah, rest is good. We're going to go into the Strange New Loop. Let's do it. And the question is, if you could ask Commander Data for one piece of wisdom, what would it be and why? But before we go, I'm just going to share a real quick story since we didn't have news and we're doing great on time. I watched the screener.
David's last words.
Yeah, right? I watched the screener for this episode, and if you've watched the pod for long enough, you know how Giraffe feels about Brent Spiner and Data and just showing up and everything. So I finished watching the episode, and I'm like so excited to talk about the episode. And I texted her, please watch Lower Decks right now so you can love the episode and also scream the loudest scream you've screamed ever. And she let me down. She was like, I watched it this morning. I didn't even get any Brent blowback, any Brent like.
Listen, they out Brent me. Like I what can I say? I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm like, yeah, he owns Paramount. I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just, how do you say that?
It's Stockholm syndrome. I think they've done it so much. You enjoy it now. It's
insane, though. Like, don't you think it's insane? Like, it is crazy. I was happy to see Data.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm like, oh, again. But also it worked kind of perfectly for this episode.
I think he's trying. I think he's having a a weird like episode number measuring contest with Jonathan Frakes and Michael Dorn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
think
can
that's
see
what
that.
it is. And I think he's just paying them and be like, I need to beat
Yeah.
Michael Dorn.
Yeah.
Like, put me in more episode than him.
That's pretty hard. You got 2 series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
3.
Yeah.
he's gonna be in the academy. He's gonna be everywhere.
But Data could theoretically show up. I don't know if his Golem body can die like after Picard season 3.
Never fucking soon.
Yeah. Yeah. We have some good comments in the chat about this. Felix Stacks having a Brent out. Best Data comeback ever though. Tara writes, but at least he was Data and not some relative of Sung.
Hey, don't talk too fast. There's 2 episodes left.
That's very true.
3 episodes left. 3?
8, 9, 10. Yeah.
3 episodes. Who knows?
Who knows? Gene wrote, we made Brent Spiner tolerable at least, which is true. I don't know if MC just has her hand over her mouth or if she's frozen. We'll find out.
She's frozen.
We'll find out in a few minutes. If everybody hears the noise, I am going to screenshot that because that is just one of those epic screenshots that you have to keep for evidence later. Yeah, and now Giraffe's doing it, freaking me out, thinking that she's frozen. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question about the loop. Like,
yeah, I
is
like
it a piece of wisdom or a question I've always had? Because one or the other I can do.
Well, I would say piece of wisdom, but like as I thought about this question, I don't know if like what I would ask him is a piece of wisdom, though it could be considered wisdom. I don't really know. So I would say give it your best guess.
I don't have a piece of wisdom. I don't know. I'm not a wise person, so but I want to know if like kissing the Borg Queen was gooey or not.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good question. That is a good question to ask. I like it. MC, what about you? What piece of wisdom would you ask Data about if you had the chance?
I would probably try to ask him something that would end up breaking the Temporal Prime Directive. Because I mean, if it's Data from the future, it's like, Data, please give me all of the information about the stock exchange from 2025 onward. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
No wisdom in this podcast.
There's no wisdom in this podcast, apparently.
Well, also, I feel like asking an android for wisdom is kind of weird because he's like infallible. So I'm like, no, I need somebody messed up. Like Jordy, I'd be like, teach me the ways. Tell me how. But Data, I know I could never compete. Like,
yeah, true.
I'm not fully functional. I'm barely functional. Like, barely. On like the good days.
Speaking of, Jean just wrote that she would ask how fully functional is fully functional. I mean, you
dangerous.
Dangerous.
Same. It's like it's curiosity. It's not wisdom.
Yeah. For those that are just coming in or needed a refresher on the question, is if you could ask Commander Data for one piece of wisdom, what would it be and why? Dana writes, I just want to talk about Spot, which I think is fair. You know, if you're a cat person, especially. Yeah. Just use him like the 8-ball Felix writes. I like it. Keg writes how to make a Sumerian sunset. Okay. Jean also to go on her question a little bit more. Is he fully functional like on all sides or like just the front? I mean, if he's got the front, I'd imagine that he's got a butt and
We're going to get into that later.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's.
I have a bone to pick with this episode, but we'll get into that.
Oh, okay. We will get into that then. I will say that I when I was a kid in middle school.
That's big heart snore. Everybody's very curious. Nobody's wise. I like that. Thank you, chat. Backing me up.
I'm sorry. It's Picard or Riker that I would be asking for wisdom rather than Data.
Jordy.
I love Data. I would get information from Data, but wisdom, no.
Guinan. Oh, is purple Guinan even more purple than normal Guinan? Because she's already pretty purple. Like she wears
I would say Guinan probably wears like orange in the purple universe to offset the purple. You know?
See, I was thinking she was just like Violet Beauregard from Willy Wonka.
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. Oh man. I'm gonna be the boring one here. I used to play the viola in middle school, and I missed not being able to play an instrument. I tried to learn guitar, and I just couldn't learn an instrument. I'd be like, Data, teach me your ways. Teach me violin or viola. Like, give me lessons. That's my boring answer, but that's the one I came up with, so I'm sticking with it.
His ways are he's an android.
Well, yeah, but like he could do it, and I think he'd be a faster teacher than other people. Like I wouldn't ask Riker to learn how to play the trombone,
Because you really want to learn how to play Nightbird.
I don't want to know how to play Nightbird ever. So
Michelle, I don't need to ask about what being an undercover woman was like because I already know
yeah, she
what
is
it is
one.
like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. These are we had some good. What color are the isolitary chips over there from Congressional Baseball fans? Yeah, I mean,
Ooh, did he really try to murder Kivas Fajo? We know for a fact he shot.
he did. Yep. O'Brien was like, there was a discharge, dude. Yep. Caught Data.
That's
Caught.
what she said.
Damn, fully functional indeed. I'll give you one of these.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
I like it. This isn't a spoiler, but there's definitely some sound clips coming from this episode onto the soundboard, and there's a big one coming from next week's episode. So we'll have some new things to play with on the board. Can't wait. I think we should get into this episode because it's really good. It's really good, and I want to talk about it. So let's do it. It is our review of episode 507. That hurts my soul to say a little bit. Of Star Trek Lower Decks, fully dilated. Our order tonight will go Draft, MC, and myself. Let's talk about Tasha, who's going to come for revenge in any universe, even though we didn't get to see her. Yeah, there she is. The cold open sees the Cerritos closing another one of the subspace or timey-wimey rifts. And according to Ransom, it's their third one this week, so they've been busy. If you want to have a beef with the show, we could have seen a few more of them in previous episodes. This time, a purple Enterprise D drifted through dealing with an evil Tasha Yar clone crisis. Apparently, Carol seemed very nonchalant about it. So yeah, during that skirmish, the purple D left something behind on a pre-war planet, which also, by the way, was purple. Like the oceans were purple on that planet, and the eternal flame was also purple. There's a pattern. So that forces Mariner to miss Taquito Night. And we also learned that Carol's finally thinking about filling the senior science officer position with Tendi and T'Lyn both up for the job. So a lot packed into like 2.5 minutes here. What do we think about the cold open Draft?
It was a good cold open. Like, I like that we're back to the, time and space, like, alternate universe thing. So, yeah, I thought it made sense. It was a good opener. Like, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Let's
we're going to
see
get
more
into
alternate
this.
people, yeah.
Yeah, nice. MC?
I feel like do the carpets match the hull might be one of the dirtiest jokes that Lower Decks has done, and I love it. But this whole Tendi and T'Lyn thing, this is probably going to be the best place for me to bring it up. Because unfortunately I didn't read the outline because I literally locked
It was
in.
also not to say, hey, you should have read the outline, but the outline was like 2 hours before the show, so you guys get a night off from me railing you about it.
Yeah, and I was in the car while you sent it. So, Tendi and I don't understand why there's this is a 24-hour ship. Why is there only like one? They've got different shifts, so why is there only one like main science officer position? I feel like, and I mean, especially for something like science, like I can maybe understand there being only one like chief engineer because it's like that they're only in the engineering room, but science is a really fucking broad category.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why. I mean, do kind of have Tendi and T'Lyn studying kind of similar things, but they didn't have to do that. And honestly, I think T'Lyn is incredibly adaptable as to what she could study. So, like have one of them cover like flora and the other, fauna, or whatever. There's a lot of things. So I don't understand why we need to pit people against each other.
Yeah,
Also, there's nobody else. Like, they don't have one science officer above a JG. Like,
that's also true.
Like, what's going on? Everybody's like school level.
I mean, I would say, like, remember, this is like the shit end of the stick of Starfleet, right? As far as like personnel and, well, I hate to say that because we love them, but like as far as like personnel and vessels, like who knows what they get? Like, I feel like they get sent scraps, like of after people have been sent to the bigger ships and like the main Starfleet ships with the bigger and better uniforms and all that stuff. So who knows? Like,
just to point this out, they do have 2 heads of security.
Yeah. They also do second contact. Why isn't there like a bigger like science position in there? Like it's I mean, I'm here, I understand plotium, it's for the plot, but I was like, really? There's nobody else than 2 like junior grade that just were promoted like on that ship for science? Yeah. Like nobody. Okay.
Everybody on the ship is a scientist. Like,
true.
They should. This is something that I've never actually understood with Star Trek, and it is like my own like. It's the thing that gets the most into my craw. The fact that there aren't more blue shirts in Starfleet, because I feel like it should be the most, because so much of what they do is covered by science.
It's interesting though, because someone just brought up a great point in the chat. Data was senior science officer in 3rd Command on the Enterprise, but Data wore an engineering uniform because he's also an engineer. So it's like, who knows if some of those yellows are also blues, but they, like they lean more towards like engineering stuff, but then they also go and work in sciences. Because you could say the same thing, I think, about Rutherford as well. Yeah.
I'm honestly kind of wondering if the reason why Data wore the gold is purely for costuming reasons, because the blue might have clashed with his makeup.
Right.
I am gonna back up this.
No, it's true, because it's the reason they didn't use the TOS colors on Next Gen, because they didn't like Patrick Stewart in the gold. So I mean, yeah. I liked the episode. I'm sad that they missed taquito night, because taquitos are delicious. Oh. And yeah, I
could just replicate them,
but I'd like to be there for the singing and the dancing. So anyway, triple threat undercover girls trip. Mariner, Tendi, and T'Lyn, they all get their prosthetics from a not too happy about it Dr. T. She's like, I went to Starfleet Medical. What the fuck is this shit? Yeah. Meanwhile, in the transporter room, Rutherford and Boimler are drinking like way over garnished. I thought they were Bloody Marys, but they're micheladas, which are also delicious, by the way.
No,
you don't like them?
No, micheladas are not.
I like micheladas.
I've never had one, but I looked up what's in it, and I think it sounds disgusting.
They're delicious.
No.
Come on. I'm getting just shut down on everything tonight.
Oh my God. Like micheladas. I mean, more power to people who love micheladas, but
no. Oh man.
I mean, I would barely have it if it was a Bloody Mary. So
oh man. So they warn the away team that a week goes by on the planet for every second that goes by on the Cerritos. So that's like a big warning. Like, get your shit done, get back, let's go. As soon as the away team beatings down, though, Boynes and Rutherford spill their drinks all over the transporter console, shorting it out and stranding Mariner, Tendi, and T'Lyn on the planet for what we will find out near the end of the episode was close to a year. Like, holy fuck. How do we feel about this being the way they wind up on the planet for so long, including their antics, like trying to clean that shit up? Draft.
Okay, that's a lot.
It is. Sorry.
I like that. First of all, like Tiana, I think it's stupid to do all the undercover thing. Like that cracked me up.
Give it to Nurse Wesley.
Notice how like they're their character didn't change and they're still themselves, even if they don't like they don't look the same. Thank you, Lord. Just FYI, just throwing that into the mix, so I can reference it in like season
Like 3 months from now.
4 or like,
Season 3, yeah.
Three? Is it 3?
That's from season 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like I've already watched like 6 seasons of that show. That cracked me up. I love the character design. Again, I will die on the hill that these are giraffes' horn, by the way.
No, they are. They
look like
100% are.
Thank you.
Yes.
And the whole thing with the micheladas, like, why? This is so stupid. I like it. It's idiotic, but why giant micheladas with shrimps? Also, like, did they replicate the whole thing? I have many questions. And also, it took them way longer than 25 seconds to like clean up that mess.
Yeah.
So
It would have been
1
52.
second, yeah, 1 second for 2 weeks, right? Isn't that what they said?
1 second for 1 week.
Oh, 1 second. Even it didn't take him 1 minute.
Yeah.
No.
To clean up all that. These girls were stranded way longer. Like somebody botched the math. I don't know where the question ended. There
No,
was a
but
lot
no,
of
like what'd you
question
think
in
about
there, Julian.
what'd you think about their antics? Like the fact that like this happened in the first place. This like Rutherford Boymes being kind of idiotic.
How didn't they see that coming? Like the girls seeing them with the micheladas should have been absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
you know them. You know they're gonna mess up. Like back up, put that down, and also it's just 1 second. They should have done like boop boop.
Yeah.
What are they doing to start with? Anyway, it's a good plot. I love like differential time and space. They did it in Voyager, right? In Time in a Bottle, Message in a Bottle.
Blink of an
blink
eye.
of an
That's
eye.
the one with the doctor, right? And he's like on the planet like with the
It's the one with the astronaut.
but and the doctor goes and lives on the planet for like
And
decades.
there's time in a.
There's
Message in a
actually
Bottle
2
is
episodes.
also
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
There's also, I think, relativity is one that was mentioned
Relativity,
as
maybe.
they like people get stranded on a planet and they think that they're there forever, but it turns out that it's a time dilated planet. So
Yeah. It's also a little bit of inner light, like Mariner says.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you have any more on their antics or are you good?
No,
Nope. MC?
I'm here for like weird aliens and girl strip.
Hell yeah.
Like giraffe, I really like the design. I like the horns. I think they're really neat looking, and I am trying to figure out how to make mine. But thank you to everybody who worked on those designs for keeping Tendy's hair green because
Yes.
I don't need to buy another freaking wig.
Nice.
And also because of this, we get to actually kind of see where Tendy's hair is because, with the it stands out a little bit better than against the green skin because I was always wondering exactly how the hair falls. And yeah, no, I mean, Waimler and Rutherford, like what? They are so full of themselves because of this pad. And yes, Rutherford is developing a glorious beard. But there's no, I mean, the book club couldn't have gone that well.
No, I would say no. Yeah.
Yeah, that, to justify, like, not only are they drinking in the transporter room, they're drinking alcohol in the transporter room. Like, I mean, I don't know if they've gotten synthahol, but judging from how just full of themselves they are, I doubt it. And also, I don't think the Cerritos really does synthahol.
No,
I feel like they're a
Mariner's
little more-
restocked that whole bar with like actual booze too.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, like the whole time thing, like if they did clean it up in 52 seconds, like that's incredibly impressive considering how just like befuddled they were.
yeah.
But I think actually like it was just like a rough estimate. That's the only way I can explain it because they had to have been doing that for at least 5 minutes.
I don't know about that. I don't know about 5 minutes. Gene writes that's aggressive licking and shoving.
Apparently, the uniforms are not absorbent at all.
Yeah. I love this episode, but I did not like the micheladas. I know they gotta have a reason why like they're stranded there. But man, like the Boimler arc, like we got like three episodes left, guys. Like, where is this going? Like, where is it going? Because it's like at this point he's just being a dick and should be thrown out of Starfleet, like legit. Like even though like things are like working out for him, like the chief medical officer literally beat the shit out of him in the last episode and almost killed him. Like he's being an idiot, and it's time to figure out like where this is going. But it does give us the great story on the planet, so I can't be like incredibly mad about it. So that's kind of where I am at. I love Dr. T's just like I have like so much better shit that I could be doing, and just oh, it's great. Let's talk elementary, my dear Data. It turns out the signal they're getting from the planet is none other. There they are. There's those horns.
Nice.
I'm surprised you didn't wear it tonight.
I have no.
No.
I don't blame you. I was going to do more purple makeup and was just like, I can't. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, it's the purple head of Commander Data left behind in a crashed shuttlecraft. Everyone is pretty stoked to see this head until Snell shows up, but much to the chagrin of Tendi, we're going to talk a lot about her in a bit. T'Lyn quickly starts juggling and tells him that they're a traveling circus, and his lurking needs are satisfied temporarily. What do we think about the reveal of Data's head being on the planet?
I did not expect the Enterprise to leave without Data. So I didn't expect it was Data at all. Like these guys just like, well, like, bye, and went. And that surprised me. And I wanted to know why was he in a shuttle? What is he doing there? Why did they leave him behind?
There was the Tasha Yar clone in there too.
Is it lore? Like I want to know. Like I was confused by the fact it was Data. It was fun and it was purple, so I'm here for it. But I felt it's one of these episodes of Star Trek where everybody should be asking way more questions and they're not. And I'm like, please ask questions. Also, they go down this planet. They have not monitored any of the what's going on in this planet, right? They just like shove 3 people down there. No globbers. No concept of the culture or whatever they're doing. Like nobody read the briefing. Like I don't know. Like this is just. It seems botched, but it's the Cerritos, so why not? But also, why yes? Like it's the Enterprise. I know it's purple, but it's the Enterprise, and they left something back, and you're like everybody should freak out way more. It's another of one of these episodes. Everybody should like be way more freaking out about like everything than that. Yeah, even Carol is a bit like, I know it's Taquito and I just go like retrieve the thing that has been there for years by now. Years. They have no clue if it has affected the situation or not. If like, because in a piece of the action, like we see how influenced the civilization was by one thing that was left behind, right? So I don't know. I was like kind of like I was just into the horns at that point. I was like, they look cool.
The horns and the globbers. Yeah.
It's giving like, the red hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, from TOS. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a fun episode and character developments for the girls, but the rest didn't make a lot of sense. So I just like put it in the back burner in my head and was like, yay, character development for T'Lyn, and yay, character development for Tandy and Mariner. So I was focused on that. The rest made like maybe it's gonna. I keep thinking everything is gonna make more sense once the season is over. But the more we go down the episode, the more I'm like, they're never gonna
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. It's never gonna be explained. I'm just okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. MC.
Now that Giraffe has mentioned them monitoring the planet, I'm really mad that they didn't, because literally they could have watched that planet for like almost a
second.
century.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like they could have watched so much of that civilization actually be formed and like have like a pretty good idea. I mean, I don't know how, like, maybe they couldn't see through the time dilation or whatever, but I mean, they certainly knew what the people looked like and were able to dress them, you know, correctly. So there was some sort of monitoring going on. So yeah, they should have maybe thought a little bit more about that. I have to say, as soon as I saw the purple D, which also like a wonderful entendre there, I knew that this had to be an episode where we got a guest star.
Yeah.
I did not know who until I saw that pile of rubble. And as soon as I saw that pile of rubble, I'm like, Data's fucking head is under there. Like there was no way. But then also there's some other questions you've got to think about in terms of Data being there. Is the Purple Enterprise like several years behind? Like, is the Purple Dimension like several years behind this one? Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be time travel. Like, dimensions can run on like different times. But I mean, Data's still on the Enterprise. Worf is still on the Enterprise, and apparently, like, still like fairly low ranked. So I mean, this is something that I just noticed, that the events of, I mean, just the fact that the D is there. I mean, isn't that like, because I mean, Picard is an admiral, isn't he?
He is an admiral at this point. Yeah.
So that means the D is long blown up,
but maybe not
crashed.
But maybe not.
Or maybe, yeah. Maybe
that's my head
that
canon.
never happens.
My head canon was that Genesis didn't happen in the purple timeline. The Enterprise D was never
Generations.
destroyed. What did I say?
You said Genesis.
I think
you.
everybody's thinking too much.
Yeah, no, I literally was like,
I mean,
Generations didn't happen, and the Enterprise is still there. So
I think they were just like, oh, Purple D.
Yeah.
None of the movies have. This is just the way that I process TV shows. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I did not think about any of this while I was actually watching the episode. It's the curse of me coming here to do this show.
No, but it raises a good question. Like, the more I advance in this season, the more, you know, like other seasons, there were like rhyme and reasons of stuff. There was a lot of idiocy that I found like very funny, and that was like done on purpose. But I feel like there are like things right now that are just like random things, and I don't know it's actually going to account to anything, and that's making me kind of worried for the end of the season, because I'm like, yeah, is that a question of time dilation? Like, did they think about that? Is that something that's going to come back in the next episodes, and is that going to make sense?
Yeah.
Like, do something, or is it just a joke?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's something like that they didn't really touch on at the end of the episode either. We're getting a little bit ahead. That's okay. Like, the fact that no one even mentions like Tendi, T'Lyn, and Mariner are all a year older now. Like, that's a big deal. Like, and I do hope that it gets touched on somewhere in the next 3 episodes for sure. Are you good?
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say that I think I've thought about this episode more because I have watched this episode more than I've watched any episode this season. Because like as soon as I watched it, I was like, I want to watch this again, and I think I watched it like every night after I watched the screener. It was because it was. I was just gonna say up front, this is such a good episode, and so my final thought's just right here. This episode rocks.
It's one of the best episodes of the series, in my opinion. So my daughter, Cecily, has watched like some TNG with me, and she watched Picard. Like, she watched all of Picard season 3. She's seen some of 2 and some of season 1. So she knows who Data is. And we were watching the episode, And the minute that they uncover the head, she starts laughing. She goes, I knew it was going to be Data. That's how predictable it's become. And I was like, kid, I love you so much. You are my child. It made my day. But listen, I was nervous at first because we have had this conversation. Like, when is Brent Spiner enough Brent Spiner? Like, when is it finally time to put Data to bed? And
Because season 2 was the too much.
yeah. But listen, we'll talk about it in the next segment here. I was very pleasantly surprised and very happy with how they did this, because Lower Decks always treats these guest characters with like mad respect and love. So let's get to that. Tendi, so Tendi and Data for the rest of the episode, we're kind of just focus on the specific arcs, like of the girls' trip on the planet. We're gonna focus on Tendi and Data first. So Tendi, through the course of this episode, gets like increasingly more frustrated with T'Lyn, right? Because she's made up this like competition that really like isn't there. But she listen, we've known how bad like Tendi's wanted that senior science officer position since what, like season 2, right? That she started the training, or season 3?
Since she could hold a dagger.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she keeps on excelling, right? Like during their forced, whatever you want to call it, sabbatical on this planet. Like T'Lyn is just like, doing crazy stuff. But like Tendi's thriving too. She turns to activating Data, which is like a huge feat on its own, with a freaking hand crank, and then like starts to turn to him for science advice. Tells him about like T'Lyn's situation. Tendi still gets frustrated though, right? She doesn't sleep. She's taking some of the wrong lessons from her talks with Data. And, near the end, finally, is discovered by Snell. She comes to her senses and talks it out with T'Lyn while they're tied up. A lot to talk about and unpack there, but what do we think about the way Tendi handled those 10 months to a year on the planet with Data, Giraffe?
She felt like a season 4 Tendi. Not a Tendi that had gone through all the thing with her family and all the growth and all the I'm gonna fix it and I learned to not assume and I know to talk to my sister and I talk to people and like do the thing. It felt like several step backs, and it's strange because as much as we've seen the growth for Mariner and like then how she has evolved in season 5, yes. And how she's like, oh, I like doing things and I'm here for stuff and I'm enjoying. And you're like, oh, that's a result of season 4. What's the growth for Tendi? Where is it? Like she went through crazy things, amazing thing, and you felt like these didn't happen, and that she is again like kind of like floating in the back to help and to do the thing. And you'd think that the whole thing on Orion would have taught her that it's not the right way to do things, right? And it's not even brushed. It's not even like I don't know. I did not understand Tendi at all. I felt like she was to our friends. She chose to come back to the Cerritos. She wanted to be there. And then there's this whole like, oh, I'm going to be the bad side. I mean, I know they were going for like Frankenstein and stuff, and that was funny, but it's a bit I was a bit disappointed in Tendi. I thought she was closer to our friends, and like I didn't really understood the choice here for Tendi to be like this. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So I was not here for it, to be honest. The whole like in the attic, like very very Frankenstein, like that made me laugh. But the rest, they're stuck there. Why aren't they talking? Every single episode that Star Trek has done with like people getting stuck in a planet, like we've had Tuvok and Tom Paris getting stuck in the planet. You remember this one?
Tuvok and Neelix.
Tuvok and Neelix. And it's always a moment where like they discover each other and they talk to each other and they get closer and they understand each other because they have to survive. They have to put their thing to it. And that's not what happens here. It happens in like literally the last minute.
Quark and Odo.
Like, And also, if you compare to the girls trip in season 4 where they go to Orion and right away they get into like talking and discovering and being like, wow, like there's none of this. And it was a bit disappointing for me when it comes to when it comes to Tandy, at least.
Yeah, no, that's fair. MC?
I actually entirely disagree with that. I feel like this is, for this situation, very in character for Tendi to do. Her time on Orion, as much as she was talking with, her sister and the other Orions, the Orions are all fairly cutthroat, even if they do work together. Tendi is having this rivalry in the nicest way possible, in that she's taking things out on herself rather than doing anything to Lynn. She's just trying to outscience her, and not even outscience her in a way that Lynn can really see. She is isolating herself. And I think it's part of this the time dilation where they experience a year in, a minute of time on the Cerritos. Tendi is, there's this one thing that Tendi is thinking about from the Cerritos, and that she knows that she's going to get an answer to when she gets back. So, she has all of this time to obsess over it. Because, we all get like that if something that's important to us is coming up, that, we're going to obsess about it. But she isn't able to have that stop moment because of the way that this planet works. So it just kind of builds and builds and builds. And T'Lyn, as much as we love T'Lyn, and as much as T'Lyn is trying to reach out to Tendi, she is trying to reach out in the most Vulcan way imaginable, in that she's just trying to be sciencey. And it's like, please join me in my science. And that's just kind of contributing to Tendi's madness, because T'Lyn doesn't really understand, in this case Orion, but kind of the less Vulcan emotions, let's put it like that. And I actually think that in terms of a rivalry, that this is actually a fairly healthy rivalry for everybody but Tendi. It's just the fact that she's, she is in this, and Tendi is somebody that we have seen be obsessive in the past, and I don't think that's something that we've seen her grow past. This is just, she's never actually kind of had this in terms of her science career. When T'Lyn came on the ship, they never had this moment of, T'Lyn's really good at science too. Tendi was kind of always in the top spot on the ship in terms of science. So it's taken her by surprise. And I think that that's all of that. The fact that she wasn't able to get the answer from Freeman for so long is just ate away at her, which is something I think very understandable, and, excuse the expression, but very human.
Yeah. In the chat, Miss Powell family writes, Tendi was Frankenstein this episode. I wonder if Tendi is more obsessed with her Starfleet career after losing it at the beginning of the season. Gene writes, hyperfixation is such a theme in this episode. Congressional baseball team, a theme here. This was such a neurodivergent episode. Yeah. Listen, I think, I have points that I agree with both of you on. Like, I didn't like how Tendi acted in this episode. Like, Tendi's, listen, like, for lack of a better term, like, Tendi's a big girl. She could have talked about this like immediately with T'Lyn, but she didn't. She decides to go back to her obsessive ways. And the reason I do understand this a bit is because she was gone for however long she was on Orion helping her sister, right? During that time, and to Giraffe's point earlier, T'Lyn, I guess, is the only science officer aboard. So she's like impressing Carol all on her own, right? So all of a sudden, a role that she was being, taught for and basically groomed for by Dr. Miglimo is maybe not hers anymore. But what I will say, Data, I think, is very kind at the end of the episode to recommend them both, because if I had only observed Tendi and didn't observe T'Lyn, I would just be like, well, I observed Tendi and she had very erratic behavior, and this does not necessarily make a great senior science officer. But I understand it because of Tendi being that very obsessive character, and the fact that something that was probably going to be hers is all of a sudden between someone that she respects, but also is I think it would be unfortunate for Tendi to think about it this way. But when you get into moods like this and get into that line of thinking, she could be like, she's not even like a real member of this crew. She's only here on like exchange. Like, this should really be like my job. You start thinking about all these things. So I wish it was written a little bit differently, because I think, like Giraffe said, like they could have talked about it earlier and gone through it together. But instead you have Tendi locked away in the room with Data. Which, listen, I think also works because those two working off each other. Like, I would love to just have a Tendi on the Enterprise with Data episode. Like, I think that would be lovely. So
I think there's a very good reason why these two did not talk about this earlier. And it's the fact that Mariner spends this whole episode in prison.
Well, that's true. There's no middleman. Yeah.
Yeah. If Mariner was around, like, they would have solved this within 2 weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
she was here for 4 months, lying on the floor, like wanting the holodeck.
That's
and then
true.
she started to
Yeah,
go
that's
in
true.
prison
That's true.
after 4 months because she was too bored. And the two were like just going around doing their thing. And she was like, I miss the holodeck. And I'm like, yeah, I feel there's so many opportunities that were missed
Yeah.
for like character growth, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. Speaking of T'Lyn, let's talk about her. I think she makes the best. She makes the best of her year away from the Cerritos. She builds a windmill. She grows and sells food with like some crazy, insane agricultural skills, like the giant freaking grapes. And finally, with her hair product that enhances the bounce and curl, making the crew like boss rich by the end, and they didn't end up needing it, but they could have. Yeah, so had they had to stay there longer and their stay was maybe permanent, like they'd have a little nice bit of money in the bank. She does all of this completely unaware of how Tendi is feeling, and finally apologizing in her own way to Tendi while they're all tied up. Thoughts on T'Lyn's time on the planet, Giraffe?
I would have loved to actually follow T'Lyn more and see what she was up to rather than just the result of what she was like.
Yeah.
Because she comes with the result and you're like, oh wow, giant grapes and like her tonic and like a windmill. And also, like Vulcans are the engineer of first contact. So I'm pretty sure she has like a playbook that she knows how to act and how to survive. Like, since Carbon Creek, you'd think that, they have that drill into every ensign. If you like end up on the planet and you're stuck, how do you like, get yourself in order? You play pool. That's what you do.
They all keep Velcro on them.
Yeah. But I thought that T'Lyn is the one with, her shit together, and she's making sure they have food, she's making sure they have money, the clubbers or whatever it is. And she's doing her thing, and I respect that. I'm like, yeah, one person has their shit together and they're good. But I like that she manages to do all this without ever breaking the Prime Directive, and it's so ingenious. And I know most probably it's a playbook that she most probably has to learn as a Vulcan.
It's the Carbon Creek playbook.
It's a Carbon Creek playbook, like 1000%. But I like to think that it's also our own ingenuity. Because I feel that she's somebody who solved problem in a unique way, and I would have loved to know what was the T'Lyn twist that she put in this thing, like. What happened? What did she do? But yeah, I've been wanting a T'Lyn episode for so long. So for me, that's a T'Lyn episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's not really, it is.
Yeah, nice. MC?
No, I agree. This is while she's not in it a lot, T'Lyn's presence is felt in every single minute of this episode, and seeing the dynamic between the pair. And even though Tendi is obsessive and basically losing it over everything, I like that we do see them playing off each other in a way that's different than we've seen before. In terms of, T'Lyn breaking the Prime Directive, I don't know. If I were that asshole, which I usually am, I could find ways that I think actually like Data was going kind of easy on her in terms of, I don't think the giving hair extra bounce is going to be breaking the Prime Directive. I don't know. I feel like this genetic growth of these, these fruits and vegetables, it is something that's probably not great for this community, because they're going to be pretty reliant on that, after a year. So what's going to happen to them after they leave? Are they still going to have these giant vegetables, produce that they
Snell
can
will
grow
take over
now?
the business. They said they needed to get a job. Snell will take care of all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, just the fact that you're introducing that, these giant, produce is changing the society. All of these globbers that they're leaving behind. What's going to happen to all these globbers that T'Lyn collected? Yeah. So if I was that asshole, this would be the stuff I was pointing out. And apparently I am that asshole because I'm mentioning it. It's nothing that actually took away from my enjoyment of all of this, but I like to poke holes in things.
Fair. I have no holes to poke in T'Lyn. I like Jean's comment here. T'Lyn living rent free in Tendy's head makes it a T'Lyn episode, which I mean, absolutely. Man,
and putting herself on the hair tonic.
Yeah, like I said in the chat, I'm like, we need to see that hair on T'Lyn in like one of these last 3 episodes because that label was glorious.
Hey, have we seen a Vulcan with the good hair?
With a good
I don't think we've seen like a Becky with the good hair with Vulcan. Like I don't think so.
T'Pring's mom had pretty good hair, didn't she? Am I imagining that?
I don't know.
I mean, I'd say T'Pring had pretty good hair.
Yeah.
But it's always like up in buns and in things and like, it's never like.
That's why it's good. I mean, I love that hair in a mock time. I've made that hair. That hair is very complicated.
Another good comment here, Miss Powell family. T'Lyn saying that she hasn't confronted her past makes me hope that Sokal shows up on the Cerritos to get her back. I still think that he's T'Lyn's father, like Carol is Mariner's mother.
Oh my guys, we have 3 episodes left. Everybody needs to stop hoping, okay?
That's like a season 6 episode, and we don't have a season 6 episode right now.
Put the bar way low.
Way low.
Everyone's gonna be happy.
No, I love T'Lyn's here. I'm like Mariner in this. I'm like, damn, T'Lyn, you built a windmill. Like, damn, good on you.
Who was her great grandmother? To Paul,
yeah. That's how she knew how to Carbon Creek so well.
Grandmother, maybe.
Yeah.
Grandmother?
One of those.
I mean, she should be still alive, no? I mean, no.
No.
She could be still alive in Strange New Worlds, but not.
Not this.
Nordex, yeah. Grandmother.
Finally, let's talk about Big Mare. Mariner realizes that she too could make something of her time on the planet, like you said, Draft 4 months late. Much like Jean-Luc did in The Inner Light. This leads to her arrest, though, after she pokes. What did the guy call it at the bar? Like the
horning.
She horned me in the eye. And then she gets arrested almost immediately after that first prison sentence because she puts out the town's eternal flame. So she thinks that she, like, because she's put in jail again, that like she's not going to be able to like make purpose of her life on this planet. But then she realizes that she's made a family with her prison fam, even though 2 of them are murderers, but we're not going to talk about that. She also completely like full on Trekkie, like this is almost Tawny at this point, geeking out when she meets Data, which I thought was simply just adorable, like really adorable. Like, I think about you all the time. Thoughts on Mariner's time on the planet, Giraffe?
So, okay, I have one grip. is that we know that Mariner has a degree in xenoarchaeology and in xenohistory. And an everlasting fire is like 101, like cultural thing. Like so many culture had everlasting. The Romans have an everlasting fire. Like, and it's like that beautiful fire in a monument. When we see it in the first time they walk down the town, like I was like, oh, that's cool. They have an everlasting fire. Like I literally was like, I just clocked it. And then she goes and she puts it out. Like, no. She spent how many months doing archaeology with Petra? That's actually our major at the academy. Like, nah, lower decks, I do not accept this. This was a faux pas. This was not okay. The girl knows better. Like,
Can
I don't know who I need to call, but
can I be that person for a second and say she literally just walked out of prison and probably did not have her mind right?
No.
Prison will fuck you up. It's not the brig, man. That was straight up prison. Like, she goes back in, she's like, "Been any good rats lately?" Her mind wasn't all there.
Isn't that the first thing she does to end up in prison?
No, the first thing was the horn.
She's still fine. She's still fine. It's Mariner. She's been to Klingon prison. She's been to Klingon prison. And you think like Dilmarian prison is going to mess her up? No, I do not accept this theory, Julia.
Listen, I'm trying to defend the girl, all right?
But I like the fact that, she's like, she wants family.
Yeah.
She wants a wife. She wants a husband. She wants friends. Like, she is so people-centered now when... she was somebody that didn't want to have anything to do with anyone.
Oh, no. Giraffe has had her eternal flame put out. Give me 1 second. Giraffe, no.
That's happening to all of us today.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to think. I don't want editing to be a bitch. MC. Oh, no. I'll answer the question in the chat while we wait for Giraffe. Matt, I am wearing, for everybody in the chat, if you'd like to know, this is the Her Universe cardigan.
I am back.
You are back. This is the Her Universe Star Trek cardigan. It was on sale for 50%. And
where did I stop?
It looks so cuddly.
It is very cuddly and very warm, and I love it. You were rebuting my defense of Mariner.
Oh, I was saying that, it was the first time. No, the second time.
Yeah.
And she went to Klingon prison.
Yeah.
She's fine.
Yeah.
But I was saying after that, it's such a different episode for Mariner. Like, she is looking for people. She's looking for friends. She's looking for husband and wife. Like, she's looking for people. And that's what I meant. Like, we've seen the growth, and she's a different person, especially when you compare to the episode on Ferenginar, where she was like, no, fuck that. I don't want it to have to do with anybody. Was that episode 8 of season 4?
No, it was like 6 or 7.
And I'm like, yay, she has grown. And that's what I meant. Like, I want another thing for Tendi. Like, we've seen this. Give me something else. And Mariner, I'm so happy we get to see Mariner doing acting in a different way, like seeing the world around her in a different way, like, being more about the people around her. And she's so about the people that she forgets her girls, which why? What? Why not?
But you know what, though? Like, at the same time, we talked about how T'Lyn really, like, maximized her time. Mariner really got to know the people of this planet, probably better than the two of them, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I want to say also, like, I like the fact that Mariner has a different skin color than the two others. Like, she's yellow, and everybody in the prison is yellow also. So I don't know what's going on in this civilization, but I have questions. The mayor family of the prison fam is all yellow.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I will not excuse the sudden lack of knowledge about archaeology from
That's
Mariner.
acceptable.
I am a no.
That's fine.
But yeah, it was great.
Nice.
Mayor Bear.
MC.
I feel like this episode really demonstrates why Mariner and Boimler are best friends. Because everything Mariner does here is so Boimler coded. Not in particular, like the trying to do the whole inner light thing. Like that's very Mariner, but the way she goes about it is totally Boimler. The not thinking about it, just going for it and thinking immediately that this is the right thing to do. And I mean, especially like this season's Boimler. So like the eternal, like putting out the eternal flame, that's such a thing that Boimler would have done. So
He'd have an excuse to go. He's such an idiot, like, you know.
But
He is an idiot.
But Mariner, as much as we love her, she could be. I don't want to say an idiot. Thoughtless. She can once she gets her mind put on something, she can jump ahead without really thinking. And I like that she was so invested in this, but in the end she does get her happy ending because she gets to hold Data. And I mean, it's so wonderful. Chani plays it like Mariner is in love with Data, and I just love that. But this is going to be the part where, this is going off of Mariner a little bit. There's no other place I can bring this up, so I'm going to bring it up here. Mariner asking Data to stay, and then Data saying, I have to get back to Geordi. How dare Lower Decks have Data say, I need to get back to Geordi, to the dimension with bisexual lighting, and not have them be a couple?
We don't know that. That totally could have been implied.
He is my best friend.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I was so hopeful. Like when he's like, I have to get back to Geordi, I was like, oh my God, they're a couple. And then he's like, he is my best friend. I'm like, oh. And then it did the whole Charlie Brown. Like, I love that line. I mean, it's a great line, but seriously, dimension of bisexual lighting, I need them to be a couple.
Yeah, Gene writes they're best friends for now. Oh man. That line is so good, and I love and Mariner's response is like equally good. It's like, oh man, that's so wholesome. Like Geordi's awesome. I would totally go back for him too. It's just so good. The way that she nerds is just like amazing. Mariner. Before I go back to my defense of Mariner, I will say that I did agree with Giraffe when I saw it. I'm like, dude, you know exactly what that flame is. Like, don't do it. You went and did it. I will.
It's also very hard to put out an everlasting flame.
Yeah,
to be honest.
but
like there are like ways to like not have it go off.
It's actually Talin's fault because the grape was so big, right? But I will stick with my defense that she had prison brain and was not thinking straight. She also like literally walked out that door and had Snell right over her. She was like, "Go lurk somewhere else, Snell." Yeah. I don't know. I love Mariner. I will always love Mariner. I love her geeking out over Data. Oh man. Let's talk about Snell real quick. Lurker extraordinaire. Thoughts on our friend Snell, Giraffe?
I listen. There was no point to have him here, but it cracked me up because there's always that dude who's like, "Where are you from? The Northern region." Like, how often have you asked where are they from just because they're walking towards you? Like, it's such a Star Trek trope. Like, you are not from here. But no, I liked Snell. He made the thing move along and make them not be too comfortable. And I don't know, it's a fun character. I think it was just stupid and fun, and I liked it. Yeah. And it's true, there's always a lurker in the Carbon Creek situation.
Like you said though, it's like 100% a Star Trek trope for sure.
Yeah.
MC Snell. Yeah.
Snell is just so much fun. Like I really like, because I mean, this is a character that shows up in every single one of these, like what's called the Carbon Creek episodes. Like I'm trying to remember that there's one with Data Like Data like can't even remember that he's an android, and that he does get like people like be very like weirded out by him. So like this whenever somebody has to go down to a planet and act like they're not in Starfleet, there's always people being suspicious about it. And Snell is certainly like they play it up for the comedic effect because it's freaking Lower Decks. But I really enjoyed him. And I believe it was Eric Bauza.
Eric Bauza.
Who performed and he did such a good job. Like he's such a you know who that character is the second you hear him.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that if it was another performer giving a lesser performance, I think that the character could have fallen very flat. The animation also looked like I love that.
Yeah.
I can't even do it.
He's about the circus, man.
Yeah. That moment where T'Lyn was like, "What if I juggle for you again?" And he pauses and he's like, "Yes, no."
Damn it, MC, you're stealing all the things I was going to say. Now I know how Hawk feels. Jesus Christ.
That was so funny when he goes, no. It's like the most exciting. How boring is
his life, right?
Planet. That the planet, like that they're so excited about hair tonic and juggling. There's nothing to do there. They have bars. They should go to the bar more often.
Yeah. If T'Lyn had just juggled in front of more people, they would have made her like queen
or mayor. Yeah, something. Oh man,
the T'Lyn.
I will say since MC said would you care for another juggling performance? It was great seeing him like even after the town's like, go home, Snell, you're drunk, go get a job. He still chases them. Right, like he still like wants his pound of flesh from them, and he makes it all the way up the hill and they're gone, and just the look of defeat on his face was just poor. I felt bad for Snell in that one moment, and I love Snell because it just gives me an excuse now to just go nah. It's my favorite thing to do now.
Even Data dunks on Snell.
The Starbase AD. Woof, woof. I feel like there's a lot of like little like thing. By the way, it just made me think of I read a book, I think it was a book by a guy that used to be in like intelligence, and he was saying that the most dangerous people when you're trying to spy or to do something undercover is the people that have nothing to do, because they will clock you. The little old ladies that are here all day long, like they will clock you. And I feel like the lurker is totally that. It's the guy who doesn't have a job. He has nothing else to do. It's just like, these people, I don't know what they're up to. I'm gonna be up in their business, which is funny.
Yeah. Let's end this with senior science officers, right? Before Data leaves back for the Enterprise, he compels Carol to make Tendi and T'Lyn both senior science officer in a nice conversation with Captain Freeman. And I'm asking the question before I finish this, which I think is like maybe the right call here. They break the info to their friends while also laying hard into Rutherford and Boimler for leaving them stranded for a year. Thoughts on the decision here for dual senior science officer draft?
Meh.
Ah.
I know Star Trek must have no conflict ever. There's no conflict in Star Trek. I feel it's a good way to finish the episode. They started a tension, they resolved it, everybody wins. You get a participation trophy. It's very Cerritos. You can be whoever you want. You can do whatever you want. Everybody's accepting and loving. It's great. Just like I saw it from the beginning, I was like, there's no way they're promoting one and not the other. Like, or one is going to die, which is not going to happen. Or like it's gonna be a big like revelation, like I don't know, T'Lyn is gonna go back to Vulcan, big thing, which did not happen either. So for sure they're gonna be both science, which what you were saying, MC, like they're gonna work on shift, so they're not gonna be on the same shift. I'm like, I've given up asking question. I like there's 3 episodes left in Lower Decks, and I'm like, there's no rhyme of reason for whatever is happening. I'm like, I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. It was fun. It was good. I don't know how it's gonna work for the end. Are they hinting towards like Tulin going back to Vulcan and confronting her past? That'd be fucking fantastic. But there are 3 episodes left.
3 episodes that are 24 minutes each. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't see it happening. So yeah, they all get they live together. They have the same. I don't know. I'm just. It was not really important. That plot was not super important to me in
Fair.
that.
Yeah.
In that episode.
Yep. MC.
Before I talk about decision, I just want to say I'm going to make a shirt that says "Seems like a missed opportunity when purple is an option."
I love
Like it.
purple. Look, I have purple lighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have purple lighting too.
I have purple walls, so permanently. Yeah. So I mean, that does feel like it should be my motto, and I do have to say, like, as much as we dunk on Brent Spiner for like turning up in Star Trek all the time, I think he did a really good performance as head Data. And I enjoyed that this is the first time in a very, very long time that we've had like legit like TNG Data.
It's amazing how well he just went back into that role. Like he sounded just like TNG Data. It was pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah. As for the decision, yeah, I saw it coming a million miles away. I don't mind it though. It makes sense. Like I was complaining about at the beginning. Why isn't it just a thing that there should be more more chief science officers? Because I mean, I'm taking it to mean that they become senior staff members, which I mean, granted, like they're lieutenants JG. I don't, but that's also like always been a thing with Star Trek that, you know, it didn't really matter what people's ranks were. I mean, Harry Kim was an ensign and was still senior staff.
Yeah, he was ops. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lynn is not even Starfleet.
Yeah. But I mean, if you actually look at the makeup of the Cerritos senior staff, they kind of double up on everything. Like, I mean, obviously you have the captain and first officer, but they're covering command. But you've got both Kayshawn and Shax doing security. I mean, I guess you've only got Billups doing engineering.
Yeah.
But then covering medical, you've got Miglimu and Tiana. And now for science, you've got Talin and Tendi. So I think it works well. What makes, you know, the Cerritos the ship that it is are the people on it, and them working together is what makes, you know, this ship the best, the greatest, legendary California class ship in Starfleet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to say something maybe a little bit controversial, and it's going to drive Draft insane again because, again, 3 episodes left. If we knew we were getting a season 6, I would say this is the wrong call and give it to Talin and make that a story where, you know, Tendi kind of has to like deal again with the ramifications of being gone. I think there's something really compelling to tell that story there. But for what we have with only 3 episodes left, you kind of are put into a box, right? And you kind of have to do it because you don't want these 3 episodes to end and have people go home unhappy and be like, oh, they really fucked over Tendi, or like Talin's really great too. They really fucked up Talin. So like, yeah, it's, pardon the pun, it's the best of both worlds in the situation here. So I accept it. I think, you know, being the final season hurts this storyline a little bit. Final thoughts on this episode. We'll go reverse order, MC.
As I already said, I loved this episode. As soon as I watched this episode, like as soon as the credits hit, I'm just like, this is one of my favorite episodes of the series. Like, I mean, I knew like definitely this is my favorite of this season. But just thinking about all of the episodes, this is somewhere in the top 5 for me, probably. It's entirely on my girls, and I love my girls, and in particular, it's dealing with them in a way that we haven't seen them before, and I think that it was really interesting the way that they did it, and I could have done with a better plot for Boimler and Rutherford, but it wasn't about them. So,
Yeah, fair. Draft.
So it's the 3rd episode of Girls Trip, right? We had Tandy and Mariner going to get the post for for Tiana. We had the one on Orion last season, and then we had this one. As much as I love this episode because I found it super fun and I watched it several times, like I even made the costume like the day of. I think of the 3, Girls Trip is most probably not my least favorite, but the one where I have more grip with. Like more thing where I'm like, missed opportunity. Like little things where I was like, that's too fast or that's too shallow. But it's always like nice to have like the Girls Trip. I think it's the last one. So yeah, I've rewatched Starbase 80 17,000 times because I'm making a clam. Show you my clam. It's an silly little
It's
microwave
awesome.
and it's glow. And I think Starbase 80 is still my favorite episode of the season so far because it has so much like ties to what happened before and they address a lot of things. And this one was not addressing a lot. And I again, it's episode 7 of the last season. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What's the plot?
Yeah.
Where are we going? Like when you compare to the first episode of the season, and like what they open with the possibility of all these alternate self and somebody trying to take the place of Mariner, I was like, somebody has been replaced. Like I thought it was gonna be the plot. I was like, somebody has been replaced. And like so far it's episode 7 and still not has been approached at all. So I think it's not happening. and I'm just like, I have questions. So I would have loved this episode in season 2 or season 4. Right now, I'm frustrated with the season. So even if it's an amazing episode, I had a lot of fun and it was super fun. And I think the fact that it's the last season is really triggering me a lot. But yeah.
I do wonder if we have a hypothetical conversation here real quick. I do wonder how you'll feel about the season if we get like a Lower Deck season 6 pickup. And we still also don't know like what's going to happen, right? Like I get exactly how you're feeling because I feel it too. I'm like, God, like where is this going? But like I do wonder what this season looks like if there's a magical season 6 somewhere that we,
It's also compared to season 4, very less homogeneous season than season 4. Like season 4 had a lot of like it was driving you through like the grief of Boimler losing these Atonet. Like a lot of things were happening, like deep thing for the characters. And then this one seems like to restart every episode. And I'm just like, where is it? Even if it's fun, it's still fun. It's a great show, but like I just want to know where it is going.
Yeah. I'm with MC on this one. This is one of my favorite episodes of the series, I would say. I love these bottle like Carbon Creek type episodes. Adding Brent Spiner to the mix and him work. And listen, like I know, like it taking the magic away. If people don't know this, I'm sorry if I'm breaking your heart here in the chat. If you don't know, like voice actors don't work in the booth together like 99% of the time. So like Brent Spiner and Tawny weren't together in the booth. Brent Spiner and Noelle Wells. But like they did such a good job with the editing and making them sound like they were in the same room together. And like I would just love to see more of them together. This was a really, really fun one. It was heartfelt, and it is, I think, one of the episodes I've watched most of Lower Decks. Yeah, I have to echo what Giraffe said. 3 episodes left, and I'm debating whether to say this or not. Like, no, I'll hold off. But like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I could like get away with saying it or if it's a spoiler for next week or not. yeah, it's fantastic, but also like, if you guys have a season 6 on another network, let us know now so we can calm down. Because man, no, I can't. Gene's telling me to say it. Oh, okay, I'll say it. I'll say it. I next week doesn't help alleviate that. So, and that's not a spoiler. That's just like, it doesn't help alleviate the where is it all going. So yeah. But I
have a fear
this
of evil.
episode. Is it bunnies?
Is it bunnies?
Not bunnies.
Damn.
I've rewatched Starbase AD 1,000 times, and there's one line that like struck me, and I'm like, is that going to be this? Like, they are confused about the fact that Billups is suddenly not eating what he's usually eating. Like, he apparently only eats hot cereals, and now he's eating a breakfast burrito, and Mariner is really thrown off by this. It's when they're talking in front of Chad in like the ceiling of the engineering station, and she's like, what? He ate a breakfast burrito? He only eats hot cereals. And I thought it was a joke the first time, and then the more I watched the episode, I'm like,
hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah.
is that not? Yeah. And I'm back on my bullshit. I'm like, somebody has been replaced. But yeah, so see Fury. Let's see. Let's see.
9 times out of 10, you're right with these. So, we'll see. I don't think, Data was like a giant Easter egg. I don't think there were any other Easter eggs.
There are the Vulcan cape. She's wearing Talin at the end is wearing Spock's cape from Return of the Archon. Like the black cape he's wearing, where she hides like her baby Data. That cracked me up.
That's funny.
Yeah. We didn't mention that this was a tribute to Time Zero, but then they also reference Time Zero.
They do. Yeah. Listen, the whole flute thing is Inner Light, Yeah. Tasha Yar.
Carbon Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the mailbag.
Warp me.
And we'll just go back in our order. Draft, take TJ's, please.
My phone just died. Like literally, look.
I see it.
Okay, give me a second. Go, MC.
Yeah,
get
MC,
this one. I'll open
take TJ's.
TJ wrote, I thought it was cleverly done, and the cameo was definitely a welcome Easter egg as per usual. LMAO.
Laugh my ass off. Draft, should I do the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Techno Dave wrote, where to begin? Mariner in jail, Boimler and Rutherford being total klutzes, Tendi trying to outcompete Talin, and a purple-hued Data. Well, just his head, but, what an Easter egg. This has usurped the best exotic nanite hotel as my favorite episode of the season. Thank you, Techno Dave. Giraffe, still no. MC, can you take Jay Woodman's, please?
Jay Woodman wrote, this episode is fully functional in every way and contained a broad variety of pleasures. 5 out of 5 purple Data heads, a jewel of an episode, exactly what I hoped.
Very nice. I will take Colin D's. Who
I have it.
Do it. Do it.
I have it. It's loading. I have it. Yes. Okay. Oh. Where is it? Colin D wrote. Oh, the last one. Time dilation stories have always had an element of sadness to them, in that the ones waiting for a long time have a hard time explaining how difficult it was. Not so here. All 3 of our waiting friends, even Tendi, found something positive in their wait. We got an amazing Easter egg. The storyline with Rutherford and Boimler was tedious to me at best. Overall, the ladies' story made it all worth it.
Indeed. Thank you, Giraffe. MC, can you take Troubles, please?
Trouble wrote, after last week's, this episode felt like a coming home to the crazy antics I know and love. It was hilarious watching Mariner try to do but end up in jail. Rutherford and Boimler goofing around in panic, get the girls stuck for months, was some new level timey-wimey craziness. Data's head was a great touch of more Easter eggs and a full nerd circle moment to warm my heart.
Nice. I'll take NY Raillight, who wrote, this episode holds a special place for me because I was unspoiled by Brent Spiner's return. Any episode that playfully mixes elements of classics like Carbon Creek and The Inner Light warms my heart. It's also about time. It's also about time that we saw consequences from having food around Trek workstations. We're racing towards an epic end to the series. Very, very true.
That's why corn dogs are the way.
Corn dogs, baby. Can you take Tara's, please, Giraffe?
Tara wrote, "This might have been my favorite episode of the season. I just enjoyed it so much. Callbacks to Voyager, Blake of the Nine, mixed with TNG Times Arrow, mixed with Enterprise Carbon Creek, glorious. Plus so much data, being ever so data-y. Chef's kiss."
Very nice. Can you take Michelle's, please, MC?
Michelle wrote, "This one was a lot of fun, and it was a great surprise to see an alt-universe data. The way this show's lovely handles beloved and sometimes quirky Trek lore is delightful. However, I am struggling with the way Boimler is being handled this season. Ever since the first episode, Boimler's wackiness and poor decision-making have been front and center, but there's been no deeper growth, and now he's dragging Rutherford down. I'm all for good humor, and I understand they likely didn't know this was the last season at this point, but I'm ready for Boimler to have some real depth and growth before the end."
No pun intended with the growth. Oh, sorry. Had to get that one in. Asher wrote, "Really enjoyed this episode. Maybe the best one of the season so far. Who can compete with Talin's giant melons?" Tendi, apparently. Finally, my headcanon shipping of Talindi is vindicated, and I don't have to choose a favorite science officer lower decker. Even Purple Data says so. As a neurodivergent person, both of these characters speak to me. Tendi as the classic anxious ADHDer, and Talin as the autistic heavily into her special interest and not even noticing how she is being perceived. I'm so going to miss this show. Very well put, Asher. Thank you for that. Draft, can you take Felix Dax mailbag, please, which I think also takes us home for the night.
Felix Dax wrote, "Loved it, and when this is being read, what? Closing several times. And when this is being read, closing several time loops."
Yeah, I think
Yeah?
it does close some time loops for sure.
Oh.
Oh man.
I did not understand. Somebody will explain that to me.
At least it wasn't.
post-show.
At least it wasn't a Simon one for you this week, Giraffe.
No, it's true.
That is gonna do it for this one tonight, guys. Before we go, just do me a quick favor: hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It helps us get shown in the algorithm and all that YouTube stuff that I will never quite understand how it works. But just know that it helps us. We will see you next week at our normal time, Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for episode 508. For MC, for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram, sarcastic Vulcan salute. Don't eat too many melons. Good night.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.